Chapter 12. We get advice from a poodle. Intro music is quiet and sparse with the sound of crickets and a crackling campfire. It fades. Voiceover as Percy. We spent the next night camped out in a swampy patch of woods in New Jersey, trying to stay warm and dry. My clothes were still damp from the bus explosion, and every rustle of leaves made me jump. I felt like there was a giant neon sign hanging over my head that flashed, "Son of the Sea God, right here, free monster, chow." Grover was on watch, but he kept looking nervously at the ground. "I hate traveling underground," he muttered. I'd suggested the subway as a way to get across town, and he'd nearly had a panic attack. He explained that as a satyr, he was tied to the earth, and being underground felt wrong, suffocating. That meant no tunnels, no subways, no caves. It was going to make getting to the underworld extra fun. That night, my nightmares were back. But this time, it wasn't a horse and an eagle fighting on a beach. I was standing in a dark cavern, the air cold and heavy. At the edge of my vision was a deep black pit, and a voice came from it. A voice that wasn't human. It was ancient and cold and heavy, like slabs of rock grinding together. It spoke directly into my mind. "Brave one," it said, the words slithering through my thoughts. "They are using you. The gods are weak. Come to me. I can give you what you want. I can give you your mother back." The voice felt like it was trying to pull me apart, piece by piece. It offered me power, offered me revenge. It told me to bring the bolt to him. I woke up in a cold sweat, my heart hammering. I told Annabeth and Grover about the dream. Annabeth listened intently, her gray eyes narrowed in thought. "That doesn't sound like Hades," she said. "He always appears on a throne of bones. He's not a voice in a pit. This is something else, something older, something worse." She theorized that whatever was in that pit was the real enemy, using Hades as a scapegoat. The thought was terrifying. As we sat there, huddled around our sad little campfire, Annabeth told me about fatal flaws. She said every hero has one, a character trait so strong that it eventually leads to their downfall. Achilles' heel was just a metaphor for his pride. "What's yours?" I asked her. She looked away towards the fire. "Hubris," she said quietly. "Deadly pride. I think I can do anything better than anyone else. I think I could even rebuild Mount Olympus to be better than the original. That's what my mom, Athena, is the goddess of. Wisdom, battle, and architecture." She then looked at me. "Your fatal flaw is probably personal loyalty. You would sacrifice the world to save a friend. Be careful with that, Percy. It can get you killed." Her words hung in the air, another prophecy to add to my growing collection of doom. We were stuck. We were broke. And we couldn't afford to travel. We couldn't fly. We couldn't go underground. And we couldn't stay put, because the Furies were just the first monsters who would be coming for us. Grover saved us. He had wandered off to clear his head, and he came back looking excited. And he wasn't alone. He was leading a standard poodle, a very lost, very pink, very fluffy toy poodle. "Her name is Gladiola," Grover announced. "I'm not talking to a poodle," I said. "Percy," Annabeth said, exasperated. "Grover can talk to animals. He's a satyr." Grover and the poodle had a short, yappy conversation. It turned out Gladiola had run away from her rich family. She was tired of the pampered life, but there was a $200 reward out for her safe return. It was exactly what we needed for 3 cross-country train tickets. So our quest to save the world was briefly put on hold for Operation Return the Poodle. We found the family, collected the cash from a very grateful owner, and made a beeline for the nearest Amtrak station. As our train pulled out of the station, heading west, I felt a moment of relief. For the first time in days, we were moving forward. We had a plan. We had a destination. I watched the green hills of Pennsylvania roll by, trying to enjoy the moment of peace. But in the back of my mind, I could still hear that cold voice from the pit, whispering promises and threats. And I knew that our journey had only just begun. Outro music is a gentle, rolling theme, like a train on the tracks, with a hint of underlying tension. It fades. Chapter 13, I plunge to my death. On a quest to save the world, you'd think you'd get a moment to breathe. a chance to just relax and see the country. But that's the thing about being a half-blood. Trouble doesn't take a vacation. Just when I thought we could have a normal afternoon, I found myself 600 feet in the air with a fire-breathing monster for company. Here's what happened in St. Louis. The train ride west was surprisingly calm after we escaped New Jersey. For 2 days, we rattled through the American heartland. We played card games, ate junk food from the dining car, and I tried not to think about the voice in the pit or the prophecy that said I was going to fail. For a little while, we were just three normal kids on a trip. Then we got to St. Louis. The train had a 3-hour layover, and Annabeth was practically vibrating with excitement. "The Gateway Arch," she said, her eyes shining. "It's a masterpiece of architecture, a 630-foot-tall monument to the spirit of the American West. I have to see it." Grover was nervous. "Annabeth, we're on a quest. A giant, shiny monument might not be the safest place for us." He was right, but I couldn't stand the thought of sitting around the station for 3 hours. Besides, I wanted to show Annabeth that I wasn't a coward. "Come on," and I said, "it'll be fine. A quick tourist trip." Famous last words. The arch was massive, a shimmering silver crescent against the blue sky. We rode to the top in a tiny claustrophobic elevator car, and we weren't alone. A fat lady in a denim dress and her tiny, nervous chihuahua squeezed in with us. The woman smelled weird, like smoke and reptiles. She kept smiling at me, and her eyes seemed to glitter with a hungry light. The observation deck at the top was crowded. The view was incredible, the whole city and the wide, muddy Mississippi River below. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The fat lady and her dog were there too, standing near the exit. I tried to get us out of there, but the woman blocked our path. Now, little hero," she said, her voice suddenly raspy and reptilian. "Don't be in such a hurry." Her dog started to growl, a sound way too deep for a chihuahua. Annabeth and Grover saw it then, the danger I'd been sensing. "You've been a thorn in my master's side," the woman said. She snapped her fingers, and a wave of panic seemed to ripple through the observation deck. The other tourists started screaming about a fire, scrambling for the exits, leaving the four of us, and the dog alone at the top of the arch. The chihuahua was changing. It grew rapidly, its body elongating, its fur turning coarse and dark. A goat's body sprouted from its back, and a long, diamond-headed snake grew from its rump, whipping back and forth. Its head was now the head of a massive lion, with a mane caked in dried blood. It was the Chimera, the monster that haunted the nightmares of heroes. And the fat lady? She was Echidna, the mother of all monsters. "A test, Percy Jackson," Echidna hissed, "to see if you have the blood of a true hero, or the blood of a coward." The Chimera roared, and a blast of fire shot from its mouth, setting the carpet ablaze. Annabeth and Grover were trapped on the other side of the flames. I was alone with this thing. I drew Riptide, but my hands were shaking. This was a monster out of my league. It lunged and I dodged, but the snaketail was faster. It whipped around and sank its fangs into my leg. The pain was instant, a white-hot fire spreading through my veins. Poison. I was dying. The Chimera blasted another hole in the side of the arch, a gaping wound of twisted metal overlooking the river far below. I was cornered, my vision blurring, the poison making me weak. "You have no faith, Percy Jackson," Echidna taunted from the sidelines. "You do not trust the gods. You do not even trust your own father. You will die a coward." She was right. I didn't trust them. But what other choice did I have? I looked down through the hole at the muddy water of the Mississippi, 630 feet below. My father's kingdom. "Father, help me," I whispered. Then I did the only thing I could. I ran for the hole. I heard Annabeth scream my name. I heard Echidna laugh. And then I jumped, plunging out into the open air, the wind roaring in my ears as I plummeted towards my death. Narrator. So there I was, falling from the tallest monument in the country, with monster venom in my veins. Was my dad, the god I barely knew, actually going to save me? Or was I about to become the world's largest demigod pancake on the banks of the Mississippi? Thanks for watching. As the series continues, let me know how I can adjust to produce the best experience possible.